you frequent the uh, media source, the literary source called Quillette. It's the outlet. It's sort of an online magazine for the dark web, the intellectual dark web.
Oh.
And people like Michael Shermer, Camille Paglia, David Rubin,
Sam Harris,
even Shapiro. He's involved in it. So all these people. But one thing that struck me that I want to talk with you about and with our audience is there's an article by Samuel Knox, and it describes a young lady who he says makes a strong case for dropping out of college. Now this is a young woman who's at Fordham University in New York, which is a very expensive, formerly Catholic university. It's no longer Catholic because they have atheists teaching theology, so it's no longer Catholic. And it's run by a bunch of gay, not homosexual, but gay Jesuits. Okay, openly gay Jesuits. But this girl, she did an economic analysis of. She's an engineering student and a literature student. She's majoring in two things. I know.
Two opposite things.
No, and she makes this case. I'm sorry. No. She's a computer science engineer.
Okay.
Computer science engineer.
Oh, big difference. Okay.
Well, I want to be exact, okay? And she describes herself as being very involved. She's only been there 2 years, all right? It's $35,000 a year. And
too much by college standards.
No, not
today's
much.
college standards.
But she did an analysis of how much each class cost her. A credit class, according to her, credit class in algebraic functions, which people do need if you're going to go into computer science engineering. You do need functions. And she said that a three credit class cost her $3,000 per semester. A four credit class cost her $4,000. Now, what happened to her was this. She said, well, wait a minute. When I go to these classes, the professor is very boring, and all he does is he runs MIT algebraic functions courseware on a screen. He runs YouTube movies, okay, and maybe a little commentary. So she says, "Well, wait a minute. I for nothing. I can sit in my home for $0, and I can watch the same YouTube videos." She says, "So that's what I want to do. I'm quitting school, and I'm contacting companies that instead of asking for a degree. Now this is a trend. Listen up, folks. Especially if you're a young person thinking about wasting $35,000, $60,000 a year on college, there are companies now that instead of asking you for a degree, they hand you an exam tailored for the job you're applying for. And if you can pass the exam, you get the job. If you can't pass the exam, bye-bye. Okay? That's the trend.
Wait. Will there be an ethnic studies portion on the test?
No.
Will it be multiple true or false? Will it be true or false?
No. False, though. Not even any multiple choice.
Oh.
No. It's all essay, and fill in the blank with the proper word.
So you're telling me that they're measuring your competency at a job?
They're actually the big companies are so fed up with higher education, with all the cultural Marxist nonsense that's being taught, all these things that you just mentioned about sensitivity and feelings, that they've said, look, we've had enough. We're not even going to ask you for your degree because most of your degrees are phony degrees. You know about the chemistry professor at City College who did not know what the PH stood for in her PhD degree. In fact, you're the one who sponsored that panel discussion.
We don't need to get into that.
No, we do because most of these degrees, all EDD degrees, every single EDD degree, especially those in administrative leadership, are phony doctorates.
And
phony.
also, like anything in the humanities or liberal arts, it's toxic and useless. I mean, anything from history to English, which both have very noble traditions, or especially philosophy, they all have noble traditions.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is that their traditions are tarnished in exchange for an undeveloped and unproven and an overall failure system, namely cultural Marxism.
Well, exactly. They no longer teach traditional history, traditional philosophy, traditional literature. They no longer do that.
Yeah.
They now teach 13th century lesbian poetry.
No, they don't even
Why?
go to the 13th century. They only stick with the 21st century. They don't even do the 20th century.
No. They go back to they do go back to ancient times, but only if it fits the Gestapo or the feminazi agenda, the cultural Marxists. If it fits that, then they'll do it.
Like
But-
they'll talk about how Plato was okay with women and Aristotle did believe they have souls, but they won't talk about the philosophy, the actual philosophies concerning, I don't know, metaphysics, ethics, physics itself. No, we're just not going to talk about that.
So the reason I brought this the young lady's name up in her case is that she I'm gonna zip through it. I just want to get your opinion. Because you did not finish yet. You have not finished your undergraduate degree.
No.
And I know you've had a lot of reservations about it. One of the reasons you went to DC was to actually get some real world experience. And you're finding out what the real world is like. You didn't learn any of this stuff at Santa Bumpkin Silly College.
I have learned more since 5 minutes when I stepped on the District of Columbia than 2 semesters worth of political science classes.
Okay, we're gonna put you to the test. Tell us the things that you have learned in real life that you did not learn in college.
I can best tell you this in a short anecdotal story.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I like stories.
One of the things I did in my time at Santa Barbara City College is we went on a trip to Sacramento, the capital of California, so we could go over and check out California politics. That's great. It was a great experience. Got to meet lots of people, actual lawmakers, got to see the process and all the different steps of the way that a bill becomes law, yada, yada, yada. On the drive, on the trip back, we were driving along, the train back, and I'm talking with my fellow students. One of them, asked me, "What'd you think?" And I basically say, "Hey, it was, intellectually interesting, but I really felt as though we didn't get to see how it works behind the scenes. It's important to know the process, but how do things move bills along or stop them dead in their tracks, behind the scenes?"
Yeah.
And, they
how sausages are made.
Exactly. And they laughed at me like, what do you think? Our professors are going to say, "Oh, when you do a backroom dealing, when they whisper, hey, you got to do this. This is what you say." And I'm sitting there going, yeah,
that's what you should. Yeah.
I want to know how backroom deals work because that's how the world works. It doesn't happen, because
it doesn't happen in the textbook.
No, it doesn't happen the textbook way. It always happens with duct tape strapping it all together.
Yeah.
That's what I really wanted to know, and no professor seemed educated on it. Be it political science, philosophy, any professor at City College really seemed capable of explaining how things it's sort of like when you get a job and you sit down and watch the stupid job training video. First 5 minutes out, when you're actually doing the job, you learn how it really works, and the employees who have been there for more than 5 minutes will tell you, yeah, forget that. This is what we really do. That's kind of what I want.
Yeah.
In my, I want to skip that whole process of, well, the video said that, or this is what my so-and-so told me, and this is what I want to know how, so I can hit the ground running when I start with my career. I don't want to spend time unlearning nonsense. And what exactly are they teaching me that I can't learn on my own?
Right.
Books are basically free if I want to read them online. I myself just happen to have a lot of books on virtually every topic, and I can also watch a YouTube video, see a bajillion articles online. I really don't need professors. Now, this is the one counter argument a lot of people, or one major justification people use. They say why you should do college. It's for the experience, living on your own and getting to become your own person. That's a lie. You're not living on your own. You're living with the college. You're in college housing. You're with other people from that college. You are being babysat by, you have a bajillion surrogate mommies and daddies called professors and faculty members. They are basically your new mommy and daddy
Yeah, it's called in loco parentis. It means in place of the parent, and it is a long-standing tradition in American college education that when you go away to a college, then the college becomes your parents. Okay.
But that's the stupid thing is that you probably had more control over yourself and your own you had more freedom when you just had two parents. Now you have literally thousands of administrators.
Well, up until 1972, it actually did work because the parents, I mean the administrators, they believed the same precepts and values of reality, truth, goodness, and beauty of Western Judeo-Christian civilization that the parents did. So when the child went to college or university before 1972, all right, it was an extension of the parents, and that's why the kids revolted. That's why there was a student revolt, because they don't want to be told to do what their parents want. They want free sex, free love. They want free food, free booze, free drugs. They want a free job, a free income. They want free this and free that. So that's why they rebel. And guess what happened? Those kids became the professors and the administrators. So now when you go to school, your administrators teach the exact opposite of the principles and the values of the parents. And
but it can work for them because they never quite grew out of mommy and daddy's basement. They just inherited the basement. And now you're living in it. Once you go to college, you're living in their parents' basement.
Right. So I think let's wrap this up.
I'll wrap it up by saying that if that's your reason for going to college, do what I did. Just drive. Just drive around Mexico, backpack across Europe, or go get a job in another state that you've never been to. Go for it. It will, because the fact of the matter is, if you're looking for a new experience, don't do what everyone else is doing. If you want to be a unique individual, go do something nobody else is doing. Don't do what everyone else is doing.
Right. So therefore, challenge yourself and see the world. Join the Navy. Ta-da!
Then you get